fucking scoot back a little so I guess so I don't punch the microphone.
Hey, come listen to our podcast, yeah. Please listen, it's a hitch. If you don't listen to our podcast, yeah, then you are a bitch.
That sounded perfect. All right. Welcome to Filmoscopy Podcast where today two friends come together to discuss a movie from both of our childhoods, and with this one.
We found out Owen wasn't for life, so we kicked him out of the NWO.
Owen went swimming in the Mississippi and got dragged down to New Orleans, so it's taken him a minute to get back home. I'm your host, Cody, and joining me is Laffy Taffy Lance.
Hello, everybody.
And today we are discussing Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
I'm going to call you Cream in My Panties, Cody.
Cookies and cream, Cody.
In my panties. No, cream in my panties. No, I'm sorry. We're going to do that.
So just to go over the basic details as usual, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory is directed by Mel Stewart.
Oh, no!
Oh, shit.
I accidentally hung up on Cody, everybody. I accidentally hung up on Cody, everybody. Hopefully that makes the podcast.
All right, I'll just start over that little bit. I literally said who the director was, and I heard boop boop boop.
I'm like, damn! I accidentally hit the power button. I wasn't trying to. Hey, this is our third attempt recording Willy Wonka.
I think
this is, or at least it's our second episode.
Yeah,
our second time recording it.
Second time recording it, yeah.
But it's been hyped up for like 6 months.
Yeah, no one cares at this point.
This is our Morbius episode. We just gotta get it out.
Yeah. So I'll chop it up too to where it's like 10 minutes long.
So, hey, what's a little bite-sized episode for you people that don't like 2 hours?
Take a bite like you do out of a scrumdiddly-umptious bar. So Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory is directed by Mel Stewart. The screenplay was written by Roald Dahl, who is also the author of the original book this was based on, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. The movie stars... no, go ahead.
Did they have... I'm just curious, do you know if they had somebody come in that touched up the script? Because,
let me see.
Because he wasn't happy with this movie. And he disowned it, but I know he wrote the script, but I feel like somebody would have to come in to ghost write something to change it enough where he just kind of like wanted to shit all over it.
Yeah, so according to Wikipedia, sorry everybody, I'm using Wikipedia.
Dude, man, Wikipedia, you have to have an account now to change shit, and you have to verify it, so I think it's at least went up 25% accuracy.
Yeah, it's not, you can't just get up in there and then Willy Wonka licked butt. So.
Well, you can, and it will last for maybe like 20 minutes, but it'll be really funny.
So it says, though credited for the film, Dahl had not delivered a completed screenplay at the start of production and only gave an outline pointing to sections of the book. So they called in David Seltzer for an uncredited rewrite after Dahl left due to creative differences.
What was the dude's last name? Seltzer?
Seltzer, yeah.
Did he also make Alka-Seltzer?
He also wrote the seltzer scene in the movie where they burp to get back down.
That's even funnier. Maybe that wasn't them changing anything in the book to like, oh, let's add this in here. Maybe it was just him like, I'm gonna get my fucking name in this movie, damn it.
Yeah, because I don't think that scene is in the book. Oh, you know what? The scene is in the book, but it's a little bit different. So like, if I remember correctly, they go into the room, they see the seltzer or whatever, and Oompa Loompa drinks it because, they're working on it or whatever. And the Oompa Loompa floats up and out of the event, out of the building.
Oh, so, okay. I thought it was... I now that you said that, I remember that. For some reason, I thought this was a completely made-up scene to replace the squirrel scene.
No, so I think there's some key things in the film that are different from the book. Obviously, the biggest one is the room with geese in it. with the golden
Yes.
eggs, and that was more due to not being able to either train squirrels or have the ability at the time to create like automated squirrels or whatever that seemed believable. So they came up with an all new
that would be really hard to do.
Yeah, that's why, like, you know, in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the Tim Burton film, you do get the squirrel scene in there. Though if you're someone who grew up watching Willy Wonka and you didn't know, you never read the book or didn't even know it was based on a book, you probably went into Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and be like, what the fuck is up with these squirrels? Like, it's weird. But I prefer the squirrel thing more. But the golden goose scene still works in the context of the film. There's also like some odd things, like when they're going on the boat ride, and
the chicken getting his head cut off is hilarious.
Yeah, there's like a chicken gets its head cut off, and like Wonka just turns into like a psychopath for about 30 seconds, and then they're just like there. And then later on, you get a scene that's also kind of weird where they're on that one boat, and he's saying a rhyme or something, and he's like, the boat is just like spewing this foam everywhere, and then
that's a little truck, and they literally goes like 5 feet, but they get like dry cleaned going through this like little, you just see poles, but it's supposed to be like some little like compact car washer or some crap like that, and like they're just getting completely soaked in foam and shit like that. It's really funny, and they're like, "What was that, man?" And like, completely dried out, Grandpa, and all this other crap, and it's. We'll get into like
I'm all dried.
Okay,
up,
I can still feel.
Grandpa,
I can
just
still
like your grandmother.
Oh God. And your other grandfather. Yayo. We'll get into like when we get into this movie, because I can still very passionately defend this movie versus the 2005 version.
Yeah,
because the criticisms that come with it. But
I will say after rewatching this movie, because you know we did our review of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, which
it's been like a year ago. 2 years ago?
No, it was like 2 years ago. It was one of like the early episodes we did.
That's for some reason our most listened to episode.
Yeah.
It makes literally zero sense. I guess that was my Howard Stern episode where you're like, "Welcome to Filmosophy." I'm like, "All right, we gotta talk about this because this movie fucking sucks." And it was just like, yeah. And it's just like, well, Cody goes, "Well, the plot starts sucking my dick because it's terrible."
Yeah.
Like my audio is like really fucking crazy on those parts. You have to just tune me down a little bit.
But yeah,
that episode was like that.
We reference it so much throughout the show, and I think we even reference the fact that we reference it so much on like every episode we do now. So that's probably why, because people who may have stumbled across this and be like, "Huh, they mentioned that. Let me go back and listen to it." That may be the reason, but yeah, it's like we don't have a very big listener base, right? But it's the only.
Well, we have
episode.
a loyal listener base. We're at least 20 people, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, it may sound pathetic, but to me, to have 20 people listen to me, even though
that is the only episode that's actually crossed 100 listens. Like I think it's sitting at like 121 listens right now. So,
which is crazy. Well, it's funny to me because of our like 20 core listeners, one of them's my other best friend Alex. One of them's my girlfriend Brittany. The other one is Alex's wife, and my co-manager Sarah. And those are like the only 4 people that I know for sure on my end that are listening to it. I think, Cody, you have 2 people for sure that's listening to it.
Yeah,
so we have 6 of the people we actually know. So we're having like 14 people out there that are randomly listening to it. So we appreciate you.
Yeah.
But it's just funny, like, that episode. And I didn't even realize I was doing it because I remember watching the movie and just getting more and more angry. And then because I did research, I've gotten like more relaxed now when we do these episodes. Like, okay, if it's your episode or Owen's episode, I'll look at the Wikipedia page while I'm watching it, and then that's it. Like, I'll have a ground-based knowledge of what's happened in the production, just, hit by numbers, not even anything like that. But that Willy Wonka episode, I read, like, multiple articles saying, this is 10 reasons why the 2005 version is more accurate to the book than the Willy Wonka version. And I'm like, you guys can go eat some shit because you are full of shit.
I mean, there
And
are
we'll talk about it a
definitely
little later on,
things-
but
yeah, there are definitely things that are more accurate to the book, but then there are things that are not accurate to the book. You know,
let's go ahead and let's expose the shadow in the room. What we're talking about. The number one big reason was Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the 2005 version starring Johnny Depp, is more accurate because it's a Charlie-centric story versus the Willy Wonka one, which is a Gene Wilder-centric story. Now, let me tell you something. I think Charlie and the Chocolate Factory was over 2 hours. I can't remember. This movie is an hour and 45 minutes roughly, because the credits are literally like 3 minutes long. It's crazy.
yeah. So this film has a runtime of 100 minutes.
Yeah, which is perfect. I love that. You know, the Batman has still scarred me from the 3 hour runtime. This movie right here is very accurate to the book. It becomes Gene Wilder heavy while they get to the Willy Wonka part of the story, but it's still following Charlie around for the most part. It's not following Gene Wilder around.
Yeah, because in this film, you never see or really hear much about Wonka until they get to the factory, because the only thing you really get is like, oh yeah, you know, Wonka bars and candy and all this stuff, but you never really get a lot of, like, I think if I remember correctly, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory opens up with like this whole like monologue about Willy Wonka. If I remember right, I haven't watched it since we did that episode a couple years ago.
Yeah,
but
they have a whole like kind of montage, but it's not really a montage of them like, this is what happened with Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory, you know?
Yeah, that's right. And then, like, of course, before you ever get to the factory, you get like, oh, Grandpa Joe used to work at the factory, so we get all these other scenes. It, in a way, and I know I was more positive on Charlie and the Chocolate Factory than either one of you guys, and I still enjoy that movie because I think because I'm a huge Tim Burton fan. So, like, I just love
and
his, like,
there's a
style.
loyalty to it because, you know, remember when we talked about in the Cinderella Man episode that I'm pretty sure will be released before this episode.
Yeah.
How I was in that kind of self-discovery mode when it came to movies, and I came across this movie.
Yeah.
You were kind of like that too when that movie came out, and
Yeah.
when I was unfairly like shitting on the movie, and you're kind of laughing along because we've been friends for over 10 years, and I have to apologize to you for it, but. I mean, you don't have to apologize or not apologize, explain why you liked it, because a lot of people liked that movie and did good business.
Yeah.
You know, it's just too much to me. It felt like, and maybe this is just the Johnny Depp thing. I like Johnny Depp as Captain Jack Sparrow. I think he was really good in that Nightmare on Elm Street, the first movie. Obviously, that was his first breakout. But I'm not a huge, like, I'm going to go watch Edward Scissorhands, or I'm going to watch that movie, or I'm going to watch The Mad Hatter. Not Mad Hatter. Is that what that is? No, that's Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah.
Like an idiot. I'm not, you know, whatsoever. Like, Johnny Depp doesn't draw me in to watch the movie. I'll watch a movie that he's in that if I'm interested in, or somebody's suggesting, or you or Owen are suggesting for the podcast.
Yeah,
so he's going to draw for me like he is for you, which is fine.
And see, that's
most people love
him. That's a big difference too. Is like growing up, I think that Johnny Depp for a long time was my favorite actor. He's still one of my favorite actors. Because I think he is so diverse, and I know there are people out there that are like, oh, well, you know, he isn't really diverse. He just does eccentricity very well. But it's like all the characters he plays are pretty different, and then he does like serious roles too. Like, you know, he played in Public Enemies, which I can't remember what gangster he plays in that movie, but
I think it was Al Capone, wasn't it?
Was it Al Capone?
No, it wasn't Al Capone.
No, I think, was it John Dillinger? I think.
You have to look that up, man.
Yeah.
Every time I touch my phone, it hangs up on you.
But like for me, also, like Tim Burton being one of my favorite directors ever, so it's like kind of like a perfect match because, you know, they have done quite a few projects.
Yeah, they're really good friends too, I think. Like,
yeah, so
I think they've played together in their band, and
yeah,
you know, I think Johnny Depp was part of his thing because I know like Tim Burton has a circle of actors he's close with, and he's really close friends with Johnny Depp, and he's pretty close with Michael Keaton. Like, him and Michael Keaton are good friends because Michael Keaton was Beetlejuice and Batman.
So I looked it up. Yeah, Johnny Depp plays John Dillinger in that film.
Okay.
I mean, it's actually a good film. I mean, it
I watched that movie. Yeah, that he was fucking powerful in that shit, and he didn't look like, because he had, you know, that fucking scalp wig on.
Yeah,
and,
I mean,
like the fucking fake teeth and everything. He did great. I remember watching that movie thinking it was pretty badass.
yeah, he's definitely an actor who can kind of disappear into a role. I mean, he is a lot like, Christian Bale is that way too, where they can, they're just.
I think Christian's extremely high strung though.
Yeah.
Johnny Depp feels like somebody who's very like mellow. Of course, he probably gets drunk, and when people get drunk, they get angry.
Well,
but Christian Bale is.
I mean,
yeah,
well,
but
maybe,
Christian Bale is very like
Yeah, isn't Christian Bale the
like,
one?
Get out of the fucking camera! Or some shit like that.
Get the fuck
You're a
off
stupid
the
man.
set, you stupid piece of shit.
But of course, when you get older, you probably mellow out more. So I think he's mellowed out. Like Russell Crowe had the same thing.
Yeah.
And even like Tom Hardy, as much as I love Tom Hardy, supposedly he was a complete a lot of an asshole towards I can't ever say her name, but they played in the Mad Max movie together. Charlize Theron. Yeah. Yeah, and he got up in her face and tried to intimidate her and shit like that, which is kind of funny because he's only fucking 5'8". So it's like, dude,
it's that short man syndrome, man.
It is, and I'm just thinking 5'8". I'm like, holy shit, man, my girlfriend's like fucking 5'6".
But let's direct the conversation back to Willy Wonka because I think we're getting a little.
Well, Tom Hardy's in Willy Wonka because he's an Oompa Loompa because he's so short. I did that. See, that was a nice seamless transition there.
So the movie.
What did this movie make in the box office?
I don't think we were exactly what I was going to bring up. So it had a budget of $3 million and it had a box office of $4 million. So.
It became like a fucking sleeper hit because they put it on TV, kind of like Christmas Story.
Yeah, so obviously, after the theatrical version, I guess was pretty much considered a flop. They released it on TV in the 70s. Obviously the movie released in the 70s. If I hadn't said yet, it released on June 30th, 1971. But a few years later, in 1974. It released on television for the first time, and then it was put on Thanksgiving night, and then again the following year. But then pretty much it sort of gradually became more of like a regular TV thing, and then it was released at VHS in 1984. Where I think
Can you imagine a 10-year gap between getting a home release?
Well, that's something I think about a lot because especially we've watched quite a few movies on doing this podcast that released in the 70s, so it's like, what did you do? I mean, you couldn't really go out and just buy a VHS tape, so these movies come out, you go to the theater and watch it. If you don't watch it in the theater, you just kind of, I don't know, I guess wait and hope that it comes on TV because there's really no other way to watch it.
Well, the thing is, it's everything moves so much as a society. Something that something that happened 2 or 3 weeks ago feels like it happened a year ago now. Mm-hmm. It just moves so quick, and what's the newest thing? We've gotten such a breakneck pace. But TVs weren't even hugely available. They had if you had money, you had a TV in the 50s. If you had a little money, you had TVs in the 60s and 70s and 80s. So not everybody had TVs.
Yeah.
And if you didn't see it in theaters, of course you have the highest grossing movie of all time at that point was Gone with the Wind. And that's not something I would want to go sit through. But this type of thing right here is you had to wait for home media to be actually being fucking invented because, I don't think in the 70s they even had VCRs yet. And it's crazy. You had records. Literally that was the only thing you could buy that you could play at your house was a fucking record. Which is just kind of crazy to think about. And you're just like, oh, that movie's coming out. It was a big thing, the ABC movie of the week. You always see not people, but it's talked about if you watch documentaries. The NBC movie of the week. And it was a huge fucking thing. That's why TV stars were so big back in the 50s and 60s and 70s because if you couldn't afford to go see the movies, you would watch these shows. Gunsmoke lasted 20 fucking years on television. And that was from, the 60s all the way up until, the late 70s.
Yeah.
Or, late 50s and the 70s. And they were just huge stars, almost as big as movie stars. So this movie, when it became, a part of a rotation on TV, it grew in fucking legend. And I think, especially for me, the only reason I read Charlie and the Chocolate Factory was it was picked in my 7th or 8th grade class, I think. Maybe it was elementary school. I can never remember. And then she showed us the movie afterwards, one of those class periods, probably 2 class periods because it's an hour and 40 minutes long, that, you know, you just kind of wasted 2 class periods watching this movie, and it was really cool. You had no homework. But, you know, it just became such a thing, I think, before that. Obviously, in the 70s and in the 80s and to the 90s when I was in school. And to think about, like, when I was in school, the movie was only 20 years old. You know, this movie came out, what you said, 72?
71, I believe.
71. So I was in school in 93. So, like, 22 years later, I'm in school, which, you know, seems like a long time when you're in school. 22 years ago to me now is 2000, and I was fucking 12 then. And that doesn't seem that fucking long ago.
Yeah.
So it's just funny how time changes, but, like, we're right now, like, well, if this isn't released tomorrow, I'm never going to go fucking watch it. Because, you know, you can watch movies at home or on your fucking phone.
Yeah.
You know, it's just so crazy how, like, the perception of, if you grew up in the 70s and you had to wait forever for, like, just to watch it on TV because you didn't have home media. You know, even when we did the Fugitive movie, you know, I said, like, the movie came out in 93. Well, it wasn't released on VHS till 97. That was 4 years later.
Yeah, that's
and it's just like, it's just so, it's just crazy to think about. I know I went a little tangent there, but, like, how fast everything has moved. Like, the DC movies, they were released same day release on HBO Max, and then the Batman had a 45-day window, literally a month and a half in the theaters before it was released at home.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's like fucking this instant gratification that, like, it's just so weird to think about, like, from, like, this movie not being put on VHS for like 20 years or 10 years versus, you know, I can go see the movie that's coming out in the theaters on HBO Max or Disney Plus.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just this breakneck speed over the last 40 years when it comes to media is just insane. So, well, if we grew up then, it's, I guess, the long way around. If we grew up then, we'd just be like, man, did you watch that movie? No. Well, you'll see it in a couple months. Who knows? It's really good, man. And, you know, you had nothing to watch, or, like, you didn't have a phone, so you had your imagination. You
Well,
would
let me
just,
tell
if
you,
something enthralled you.
there's this weirdo that lives in a chocolate factory, okay?
And he has these little orange people with green hair.
And he's bringing
It looks like the Q-tips when I pull it out of my ear.
He's bringing these kids into the factory, and he's telling them, hey, you do what I say, you might win this factory, capiche? And this little fat boy gets stuck in a tube that sucks up chocolate. It's insane. You gotta go see it there, Paulie.
As I get older, when we get into the plot, when when that scene comes up and that kid's stuck in the tube of Gus's glute, I'm just like, man, that's what it feels like to be constipated. And when you're a kid, you don't think about stuff like that. You're sitting there 35 or 34. I'm about to be 35 next year. Sitting there on the toilet like, I got to go to work in 5 minutes, and I'm constipated. God, come on, push out.
So instead of going through the plot beat for beat, I think I just want to give a general overview of what the story is, and then we'll talk about the characters, because there are a lot of characters in this film. And
that's probably a better way of doing it.
Yeah, I think by talking about the characters, we'll get to deeper into some of those more important moments. But the story of the movie is there's a chocolatier named Willy Wonka. He owns a chocolate factory. He's a recluse. No one's seen him in many years. And all of a sudden, there is a contest that he puts on where he has hidden 5 golden tickets inside of candy bars, and they are sent all around the world, and whoever gets the 5 golden tickets gets to go to his factory for a tour. They win a lifetime supply of chocolate, and they get a chance at a special prize. Like I said, there are the 5 children that win the tickets. We'll get to the characters in a little bit, but they all go, and one by one, they misbehave, they don't follow the rules, and they are essentially banished or sent away from the tour. Some of them may have died, who knows. And at the end, Charlie Bucket ends up being the only child left, and he ends up winning the chocolate factory, which is the special prize. Now, that is a very dumbed down version of what the story is, but let's begin talking about the characters. So, one of the main characters of the film, there are really, I think, 2 main characters of this movie, but one of them is obviously Willy Wonka, who is played by Gene Wilder. Like I said, Willy Wonka is the eccentric chocolatier that lives in the factory. You first see Willy Wonka, which is something we were talking about earlier about comparing it to Tim Burton's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. You don't see Willy Wonka until they go to the factory to do the tour. And when he walks out, he does the thing where he's like limping with a cane or whatever. And then he falls over and does like a somersault. And everyone.
And that's something Gene Wilder wanted. That was not in the book.
Right, yeah.
And he said that, because I just read this the other day, he said that if he did that scene, he wasn't going to do the movie if they didn't let him have this scene, or if they didn't let him have the hat a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
He said that this scene was real important because if he comes out limping and then does like a little somersault like he does, then you don't know if this guy's telling the truth or lying throughout the whole time he's there.
Right.
And he doesn't show up to, like you said, it's halfway through the movie.
Oh, yeah. They spend a large portion of the movie just going over, like, the kids, basically. And really, this film, I think this film focuses on Charlie a lot. You get the whole backstory about, Charlie's poor and, his father
mother's
is
a
not in the
whore.
picture. And his mother is, selling it on the corner to support the family while the four old geezers are laying in the bed.
Hey, she actually kind of is, because when she's singing, "Look up, Charlie," and she's actually on a street corner when she's singing that song. So we're not completely wrong there. You can change the lyrics to that song. It says, "Give up, Charlie. You're a fucking loser." But let's talk about the grandparents real quick.
Yeah, sure. We can talk about them. You got 4 grandparents: Grandpa Joe, Grandma Josephine, Grandpa George, and Grandma Georgina. They are 4 bedridden assholes who may or may not be able to actually work, but they all sleep in the same bed.
And they've never left the bed in 20 years.
Yeah, they haven't left the bed in 20 years, but when the orgies are that good, would you leave?
Well, here's the thing I don't understand. And this is not something you think about. This is not something you're supposed to think about when it comes to watching movies. But I think about this a lot in shows. You hardly ever see people shit and piss. So if they've never left and this book was written in the 30s, I think, or 40s.
Yeah.
If you if you're in the bed and never left the bed for 20 years, I didn't see a bedpan. Where did they use the bathroom at?
There's just holes cut out underneath them, so they can just.
And they get it caught in a basket.
Yeah.
You gotta dump the flop basket, Charlie, or slop basket, or whatever. It's so gross. And you just sit there and think about if I'm having a lazy weekend, on a vacation, it's not out of the ordinary. I probably won't leave my room for a day and a half. Yeah. It's not out of the ordinary that I won't take a shower for a day and a half.
Right.
And I know I stink so fucking bad because I'm a bigger person. So I sweat a little bit more, or I don't know, my body just makes weird sense. And my armpits are just terrible. I can only imagine what they fucking smelled like. Probably lotion and doo-doo.
Yeah, and I mean, isn't she...
Not even lotion, just tobacco and doo-doo because they smoke and shit.
Oh, yeah, that is true. They do smoke. Grandpa Joe with his pipe. For some reason, the family can barely fucking afford food, but he sure as hell can afford that tobacco to put in that pipe.
And my thing is, another thing, it's 5 cents. You can have it for tobacco. I'm like, okay, look. If you can spend 5 cents on tobacco, how much do these fucking Willy Wonka bars cost? Because you're literally drinking lettuce water for dinner.
They're literally just drinking cabbage soup for dinner because they can't afford food.
Which is, cabbage soup, I'm pretty sure, is just a cabbage soaked in hot water.
Oh, yeah. I mean, basically, it's just water and probably some salt and
why don't they eat the cabbage?
I'm sure they do.
I'm tired of cabbage soup. I'm or did they use the cabbage over and over again for the soup? That's kind of fucking gross. If you think about it. And let me be honest with you, I still work in a grocery store that has produce. And cabbages, they turn nasty pretty quick. They got maybe 5-6 days on the shelf.
They're just waiting for one of the grandparents to to keel over so they can start chopping them up and throwing them in the soup.
I thought you were going to say they were waiting for one of the grandparents to keel over and they were going to put the cabbage in bed. This cabbage has been with us for 10 years and it's not going anywhere.
Hello, Grandpa Joe.
Grandpa Joe's making a hole in it like, this is for tonight.
It's nice and soft after all those uses.
I'm going to squeeze it of all of its juices. Charlie, get my tobacco. I'm about to get busy here.
Oh, man. Oh, but yeah.
And it's so weird they can afford that and they can also afford Blue Chew, which is only $5. Our promo code, Filmoscopy.
Our unofficial sponsor, Blue Chew.
Oh, we talk about unofficial sponsors. I got to do this little quick, 2-second rant. I reached out to fucking, who did I buy? Dr. Squash.
Yeah.
For the soap. And it was like, hey, can we just get a retweet on podcast? I even tweeted them. I emailed them and shit. Never fucking heard anything back, so fuck them. Anyway, go ahead, Cody.
Dr. Squatch. Wash your balls and your face with the same bar. And in that order.
And also wash your lettuce. Or cabbage.
Wash your cabbage. Oh, man. So yeah, essentially, 3 of the grandparents don't really play a huge role in the film, but Grandpa Joe does. After finally Charlie finding a golden ticket later on in the film, he gets up out of bed, which I do appreciate that he gets up out of bed slowly, and it's like, oh, I haven't used my legs in a while, it's going to take me a minute, and he's kind of stumbling over everywhere. As opposed
to be quite honest with you, if I've been sleeping in bed for 8 hours. And I get up out of bed, I'm moving slower than that. He recovered pretty quick after 20 years. I'm over here 8 hours going, fuck,
but
man.
At least
it's my day off, never mind.
At least it wasn't the Tim Burton version where he just jumps up out of bed and is clicking his heels and shit. And it's like, so you could have been working all this time, you lazy
that
piece
is true.
of shit.
And the best part is in the Tim Burton version, which we'll just call it 2005, and this is the 71 version. The 05 version, the dad is still part of the thing.
Yeah, his dad.
So I think in this movie they omitted the dad because they were like, well, if he's in here, it would look really pathetic. It makes more sense for them to be so poor and just the mom working and Charlie working if there's no dad being able to work.
Yeah, it'd be pathetic if he was just sitting there watching the grandparents cuck him all the time.
Oh, God. Do you think the grandparents traded partners?
Oh, probably. I mean, what else are you going to do for 20 years? You're bored as hell.
I mean, yeah, so it's I'm getting tired of having sex with her. I'm going to have sex with the other her. And after that, I'm going to have sex with him. And what if Grandpa Joe's the fucking bear of the whole thing? Where he's just he's the one controlling everything. He's like, okay, yeah, I want to watch you. He's a cuck and a bear and all this stuff mixing together. Could you imagine the psychology behind sitting in bed for 20 years with 3 other people?
I don't know. I think at some point, you probably end up trying to murder each other. It's I want more room.
Oh, God,
I want more room in this bed, But, yeah, so Grandpa Joe ends up, going with Charlie to the factory. So I guess we can talk about Charlie now. Charlie Bucket is the other main character of the film, outside of Willy Wonka. And he finds the 5th golden ticket, completely by surprise, because by the time he finds the ticket, the whole world thinks that the 5th ticket's already been found by someone in South America. I can't remember what country exactly. But then, as he walks out of the candy shop with the candy bar, he hears people talking about, oh, the ticket was a fake, and he opens it, and the golden ticket's inside, and people swarm him. I love the scene of the candy man coming outside and being like, "Run, Charlie, and don't stop until you get home." It's like, da-da-da-da-da-da.
Hey, I gotta talk about this real quick, because when they're showing the kids, and we'll get into them, when they're getting intercut with this is an introduction to this character, they found the golden ticket. The news anchor, as he's doing these reports, is hilarious when they get to the 5th ticket. He goes, "Now, I know there's a lot of sadness that a lot of people didn't find any of the tickets, and there's a lot more important things out there in the world. Right now, I can't think of any." But and then they go to the dude who made the computer that will tell them where the other ticket is.
Oh yeah.
And you have the 3 benefactors watching there, and one of them's just smiling. I'm like, I don't think this dude's a real actor. And And the guy's like, "Now where's the golden ticket?" And the computer's like, "That would be cheating." And he's like, "I'm gonna tell this computer what it can do with the golden ticket or
Yeah,
this lifetime supply."
That scene definitely, and I know this movie came later, but that scene definitely like feels like the Stephen King scene in Maximum Overdrive, where he's like, "This computer called me an asshole."
That's the best scene of the movie.
Well, yeah, it's probably the only like okay scene in that whole movie.
This machine's calling me an asshole. And how about those kids getting like picked off with baseballs? No, canned sodas. It was the soda machine that was like, shooting and just killing kids.
Stupid. It was so stupid. Like a soda machine would not be able to do that. Even if it was like ejecting the cans forcefully, it would not just like shoot out at random directions and be able to aim. It
was aiming. That motherfucker had like pinpoint accuracy. The next scene, you see like you see 7 kids covered in blood, face down in the grass.
Next thing you see, that soda machine's in the Summer Olympics competing in the archery for the United States.
God. Oh Jesus! Yeah, that whole scene with it, like, you know, he's like, it's going to tell us the location. It's like, we'll share the lifetime supply of chocolate with a computer, and it's like, the computer says, what is good to, how is chocolate any good for a computer? And it's like, well, it makes a lot of sense. So, but yeah, those little intercuts with that two things are just fucking great in this movie. I chuckled a lot because, like I said, I know the movie kind of by heart, and I forgot about those like small little details. Like, that's hilarious.
Yeah. Since I mentioned the Candyman before we really get into any more about Charlie, I want to bring up the opening scene of the film that's in the candy shop, where the Candyman's singing, "I'll take you to the candy shop."
Oh God, yeah.
But you know, the whole like, you know, the Candyman can, and the scene, it kills me because like Charlie is sitting outside, just like kind of like woefully.
I'm so poor,
in.
I can't even get free candy.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I'm so poor, I can't even get free candy because the Candyman is just like throwing this candy around willy nilly, and
he even smacks the little girl in the face with the little, I can't remember what you call it, the flap to the table.
Yeah,
you know, the opening to it. And if you watch that scene, the poor girl is standing there, and it's not his fault, but she was standing too close to the thing, and it came up, and it obviously hit her in the face because she flinched. But you only see it from behind, and then all the kids start rushing, so she rushes out of the clip of the scene. But it's just so funny. It's like, I mean, I could just imagine her nose being so sensitive after that fucking wood thing hit her in the face.
What you don't know is actually it was intentional, and what he did it on purpose. He was distracting the other children because what they actually do is take kids to the back, melt them down, and turn them into candy. So
I thought you were going to say they had all the cans standing in front of a drink machine, and the drink machine was going to shoot the soda out and hit them in the face.
No, it's like he hits the girl to daze her while one of his helpers grabs her and takes her to the back to turn her into Laffy Taffy, while the rest of them are distracted by all the candy flying around through the air.
He's like,
so
ruining my fucking scene.
But yeah,
that's why none of these kids ever did anything else.
It's just such a weird thing. Like it's always like kind of, it's always in my mind when I see this scene, because it's like he's literally just giving this candy away, and like Charlie's just, oh, I can't have any candy. It's like, all right, I'm sure he's
and
not
it's a
keeping
terrible
track
song.
It's fine. I think it was actually I want to say that it was actually a real song that they basically redid for this movie.
What was the company? Was Hershey's the company that kind of helped pay for this movie? I can't remember,
it was.
I know somebody makes a Willy Wonka brand now.
It was, well, I think Nestle might own it now, but at the time it was the Quaker Oats company.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, that we talked about in the last recording of this episode, so I couldn't remember what company.
So apparently this was an original song for this. Yeah, so they actually did record it for this. There was actually at one point an attempt to replace the lyricist or the singer or whatever for the song, but they ended up not doing it. And then Sammy Davis Jr. actually covered it later on.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, he probably made it sound way better. What if, when you say the person who sung it, you're talking about the person who did the ADR? Because it's obviously not him singing.
Yeah, so apparently the song is originally performed by Aubrey. No, that is him singing it. They probably recorded it in a studio and like overlaid it in the film, but yeah, Aubrey Woods is the actor who plays the Candyman, and he is the one that sang it. And then apparently there was, after they heard his version for the first time, the lyricist didn't like, according to this, quote, the lack of commerciality in the performance. So, because they actually wanted to take it and make it into a hit record as well, you know, probably for like marketing purposes and stuff too. But they wanted to try, and the lyricist wanted to rearrange and re-record it with a different singer, but the producer said no. Eventually, you know, they had Sammy Davis Jr. actually record a version that they could put out on the radio. And then...
Okay, that makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, and then another famous cover of it was done by Zed.
Lord Zed?
Yeah, Lord Zed.
From Power Rangers.
But in 2016, Zed did a cover of it. But so, back to Charlie.
Oh, I know who that is. That's a fucking, like...
He did. The only thing I know Zed from, I think it's a he. He did a song with Haley Steinfeld.
Okay, yeah, I know what you. I listened to one of the songs before. I think I actually have it on my phone. It's kind of like almost like this generation of Skrillex, almost. He's almost just pretty much like a producer and makes the music and.
Yeah, sort of like Marshmello is the same way. You know, like they're just like producers, but they're like significant enough or that they like are able to be like, oh, well, this is my song featuring this vocalist or whatever on the track.
Well, it's kind of like remember Timbaland?
Yeah,
how he did that song with One Republic, and it literally is a One Republic song that he just goes.
That irritated me so much back at the time because like I was a One Republic fan, and obviously the one that was on the radio a lot was like the Timbaland mix of it. But
it was Timbaland featuring One Republic, even though it was a One Republic song.
Yeah,
he just goes.
It's literally like One Republic put out an album, and like that song is on there with no Timbaland involvement at all, and then they put out the single with like, you know, like you said, it's Timbaland featuring One Republic. It's the same song. It has a different like music mix to it, and Timbaland in the background, hey. It's just like that's all it is. It's sort of like DJ Khaled, you know. It's like DJ Khaled featuring whatever, and it's just like another one. And then you know, he does the music or whatever, but it's like whatever, you know. But the Timbaland thing was really annoying because it's like it wasn't actually his song. He just basically remixed the One Republic song. But regardless,
yeah, that's just kind of funny. We're just talking about, like, obviously people getting credit or not liking how their songs perform when they write it. Look, the lyricist, which is kind of funny because, you know, it feels like that lyricist, I didn't even say the word right, had a lot of power almost. Mm-hmm. And now you think about somebody who writes the lyrics, it's the artist who gets the power and gets the recognition. You know, literally, Taylor Swift, she probably writes some of her songs, but like some of her biggest hits literally have 12 songwriters attributed to the track. Yeah. Like, that's just insanity. Well, to sit there and think about it, you know. I don't Justin Bieber's the same way.
It varies based on different songs, but this was a big like controversy recently because Beyonce put out an album or a song, and there was like a ton of songwriters on it. But the thing is, like, if any sort of melody or anything in the song sounds remotely similar to another song, they have to attribute it to those songwriters so that they don't end up getting sued for it. Like, that's why a lot of songs nowadays have all that.
Yeah.
But you mostly only see it in like pop and R&B and all that kind of stuff because and obviously if you sample a song like straight up like hip hop does a lot, you have to credit those songwriters as being songwriters on your song.
I think they have to get a cut of the music too, a cut of the profits.
Yeah, probably so. Which we know that like musicians make most of their money on by selling merchandise and going on tour and stuff like that. So
Yeah, because the record labels have so much. Hopefully, I mean, I don't even know how it works nowadays because, you know, like rock music, which is a general term I will say that describes me and Cody's main taste of music, is rock music. There's no money to be made, like, being that. If you're not a fucking huge act like Metallica or even Five Finger Death Punch, which they're probably like one of the bigger acts, they're making money when they go on tour, whereas other bands are probably struggling to make money because you have so much money going to the record label.
Yeah, because I mean,
you
think of like, there are plenty of bands I listen to that in my head I think, I think that they're somewhat big because there are quite a few people that I know that also listen to them, and they get a lot of streams and stuff like that. But when you look at like their tour sets and all that, it's usually like they're, I don't know the way to describe it really when it comes to concerts and stuff, but essentially a mid-card act. You know what I mean? So
yes.
like you have like the local opener, and then you'll have like Sleeping with Sirens, and then you'll have like fucking Blink 182 or something headlining. You know what I mean? So like, it's probably, and I'm sure the headliner makes most of the money from the ticket sales. So
yeah, and of course they're having to work their way up. Like a band like Kiss and Metallica, they write their own ticket. Yeah. Like they're doing it just for, or even Guns N' Roses. Like Guns N' Roses, when they did their reunion tour, because they had been an entity with just Axl Rose, the lead singer, but when they got the majority of the original band, like Slash and everybody to come back, they were selling out arenas. Like they went to Nissan Stadium. I'm talking about they sold out football arenas for them. That's how big Guns N' Roses was at one point. And they could write their own ticket, kind of. Yeah. But you have, like, Wes Borland, who's a guitarist in a band that me and Cody like called Limp Bizkit. Yeah! He said that a lot of people think he's, like, super rich. Well, he's been divorced, like, 3 fucking times. The stock market crashed after 9/11, which was 20 years ago. But he said that he lost a lot of his money during these divorces and when the stock market crashed. So he's kind of well off, but he's nowhere near, like, fucking rich. He's not, like, a millionaire. And they're a band that sold, like, 50 million records. Yeah. So, you look at, like Nickelback. That's another band. They're probably not to the point where they can write their own ticket anymore, but Chad Kroeger has a fucking mansion in fucking Canada. So, I mean, they're fucking, like, rich. But you have, like, bands that, like, just an example, like Ice Nine Kills. Cody likes them. Chances are they're not fucking mega rich.
No,
because I don't even know how much, because as big as, like, these streaming platforms are, the less money they're going to give to the artist. That's why I try to, like, buy the song if I like a song from, like, Amazon. I know a lot of people just pay for, like Cody. I don't know if Cody still does it. Apple Music. That's what my girlfriend does too. Or just listen to it free on Spotify or something. I usually, if I like the song, I'll go pay the $1.49 or 99 cents for it, because at least the artist is going to get something from me instead of me just listening to it for free on YouTube.
Yeah.
So anyway, back to the lyricist of Charlie and Chocolate and the Candyman.
Well, back to the Charlie.
But Charlie is so poor he can't get free candy.
Yeah, so Charlie, like I said earlier, Charlie gets the 5th ticket. He goes to the factory with Grandpa George, not Grandpa George, Grandpa Joe, and ends up winning the factory at the end after he gives Wonka the everlasting gobstopper back, because there's a whole like subplot of this movie where someone hired by Wonka is going to all the ticket winners, or the ticket finders, I guess, and basically telling them, if you
he's posing as the opposition.
Yeah, Slugworth. Slugworth, yeah. He's basically saying, like, if you give me this gobstopper, then I'll make you rich beyond your wildest dreams, or whatever he's saying to convince them to do so. And when they receive the gobstoppers, you see quite a few of them, kind of like coyly looking around as they put it in their pockets, because they have that plan anyway. Because
the subplot of this movie, which you find out at the very end, is Wonka's kind of testing all these kids to see if any one of them is worthy that he can leave the factory to, which you don't know that at the time. Right. And he gets mad at Charlie and Grandpa Joe because they took a sip of the fizz and, they floated up to the roof and he has to clean the roof. But, compared to what the other kids did, it's extremely tame. And they thought they weren't even being seen, like nobody knew about it. So, I kind of understand why Wonka was pissed off in that moment. But Charlie giving them that the everlasting gobstopper back, he's like, "Oh, sweet little boy." And it's like, "What?" And he's like, "Don't worry about it. Anyway, do you want a chocolate factory?" But Grandpa Joe's like, "We're going to give it to Slugworth." Like, he says it so loud to Charlie. I'm like, why doesn't Wonka just turn around and say, "No, fuck you, give me that back," or some shit like that? Because it's obviously like Wonka says something and then he turns away. It's almost like a stage play where you're supposed to like dim the light on Wonka in your mind, and it's a conversation between Grandpa Joe and Charlie, and Wonka is literally as far away as my computer is, which is a foot. And he's supposed to not hear it. Goes, "Well, Slugworth wants that gobstopper. He's gonna get it." Yeah, it's just kind of funny how.
It is funny because it's like Wonka's like, I heard you. Give me that fucking gobstopper now, but.
What if he pushes the old man over? "Old man, you like that, huh?"
you like that? Grandpa Joe stands up. He's like, "I'm a Golden Glove boxer, bitch," and knocks his teeth out.
Oh, Grandpa turns into a kickboxer because he's got like 20 years of stuff. He's like, I've never seen somebody fight with their feet.
He's got 20 years of foot play backing him up.
There's a line. This movie, I'm gonna eventually pick it sometime. It's a movie called Grudge Match. And it's Sylvester Stallone and Robert De Niro. It's a comedy movie, but they play old boxers that are going to do one last match.
Oh, Lord.
And it's kind of like, he was Rocky, and then De Niro played another boxer at some point. But they get interviewed in the movie by a UFC fighter, and they're like, "So, what do you think about mixed martial arts? Kind of like the next evolution of boxing, right?" And Stallone goes, "Well, we always had names for guys who kicked when they fight. We called them girls." I'm just thinking about, like, if Wonka dropped that line on Grandpa as he started doing the kickboxing, she's like, "Whoa!"
But yeah, so like, Charlie is I don't know. I think Charlie's like, the story revolves around Charlie a lot in the first half, but I think once they get to the factory, Charlie almost takes a back seat. It does focus,
but he still has,
Wonka.
but he still has scenes though.
Well, yeah,
that are focused on him and Grandpa.
He does, but it's not like, I don't think it's as. I think in Tim Burton's film, when they get to the factory, although it does focus a ton on Wonka and his backstory in that movie,
which is completely made up.
Yeah, that's completely made up for that. But I think that it does have a lot more interaction between Charlie and Wonka in it, because it's like trying to like really like spell it out to the viewer, like, oh, Wonka is starting to appreciate Charlie because Charlie thinks a lot like Wonka does, with like how weird like some of his ideas are and some of that. But in this, it's more like, what's that, Grandpa? And besides that and the fizzy lifting drink, and like Charlie's really meant to, like, I think, embody the audience, where it's like, oh, what is that? Let me ask a question so that we can get an answer, so that the audience isn't confused by what's happening. Which there's nothing wrong with it.
I agree with that.
But Charlie is the main focus in the first half, and Wonka becomes the main focus in the second half.
I agree with that. I think that where we differ on the opinion of how it's played out in the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory 05 movie, whereas they do focus on like his backstory, and when we get to the end of this, we'll talk about the give and take of this movie. But as you said, the writer of the book didn't even give a complete script to them when they started filming. He obviously had time to make a script, but he obviously wasn't a screenwriter, so he couldn't make his book into it.
Well, he ended up not finishing a script because of the creative differences. So there was already stuff brewing as he was he created. My assumption is he created the outline, right? Because we know he created an outline, he turned it in, and then before he wrote a script, he bailed. So I think more so it was like the director or whoever was like, oh, well, we want to do this, this, or this, and Roald Dahl was like, well, I don't like that kind of stuff. I want to do it like the book or whatever, and they ended up just parting ways. So yeah,
and I think I think that's probably very likely. Also, it's probably like some of the things that are in the book you couldn't do in 1971.
right.
So it's like, and they probably wanted to condense it. It's a kind of a bigger book, if I remember correctly.
I don't think it is. I think it's only. I want to say it's only 100-something pages. Let me.
Well, that's a big book for me. No, I'm just kidding. Let me see if I can't look it up real quick. Hold on. Well, now my phone's acting all weird.
Yeah, I got it. I got it. Here, just a second. Just a second there, buddy.
But the whole thing with the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory movie, they make up a whole. This is just me talking to the audience. They make up a whole like 20 extra minutes of the movie just based on Wonka because it's Johnny Depp playing it. And the biggest complaint about this movie was this movie is really a Willy Wonka movie, not a Charlie movie. And I call bullshit on that because Charlie completely disappeared to me in the Charlie and Chocolate Factory movie with me watching it.
See,
like the whole movie, he didn't even feel like a main character to me when I watched it. And I was watching with like, I didn't go in it like, I'm going to fucking hate this movie. I just never gave it a chance because I didn't care. I watched it for the podcast, but I literally don't remember anything about Charlie in that movie from when I watched it. But I remember fucking Johnny Depp, and I remember his dad because his dad is Count Dooku. Christopher Lee.
No candy for you. It causes cavities. So real quick, the paperback version on Amazon says it's 192 pages long. But I can see where you're coming from because, like I said, once you get to the factory, especially in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and even before they go to the factory, there's so much backstory for Wonka that it kind of like envelops the entire story of the film. But I think that when they're in the factory in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Charlie does have a bit of a bigger role because there are more interactions between him and Wonka, and there are like these things like, oh, well, that's a great idea, Charlie, whereas the other kids are just like spoiled brats and all that kind of stuff. And while in this, like I said, when he gets to the factory, it's just kind of like, oh, now he's just a vessel for the audience, and that's it until the very end.
And I agree with that too.
Yeah. So,
and by the time they get to the factory, though, like I said, we're already 35 to 40 minutes into this movie.
Yeah.
So you have like an hour left, if that.
Mm-hmm.
And this movie moves at like a breakneck pace almost. Well, not breakneck in a bad way. Like it moves by quickly. Like next thing you know, you're like, oh, there's only 20 minutes left of the movie, and it's great.
Yeah, I mean,
it's kind of a paint by numbers of the script.
Yeah, it moves quick, and there's nothing wrong with that. So yeah, Charlie is the good kid of the bunch, but there are 4 other lovely children that win golden tickets, and by lovely,
these are the kids you wish Freddy
horrible.
Krueger get a hold
of. So let's just go over them. The first golden ticket winner is Augustus Gloop, a little fat boy from Germany.
Which is, I feel kind of attacked because I have German ancestry and I am also fat.
But Augustus, I take a bite of the chocolate and I see there is a paper in the chocolate, and
you do that too well.
But yeah, so Augustus ends up getting the first golden ticket. He finds it in a chocolate bar because he eats a lot of candy, and he ends up also being the first one to
eliminated.
Yeah, the first one eliminated from Mortal Kombat.
Well, I was gonna say like Survivor, but okay.
or the weakest link.
You are the fattest person. Get the fuck out of here.
So he ends up falling into the chocolate river that
is really poop.
He's not actually supposed to be touching because it contaminates the chocolate, and he gets stuck in a tube that is kind of like pulling up the chocolate or whatever from the river, because it's the only chocolate in the world mixed by waterfall. And so yeah, he's the first one gone. Oompa.
He's the kid that represents constipation to me.
Oh yeah, that's right. I think when we originally recorded this, I compared the kids to like different like sins, right? Because Augustus Gloop represents gluttony, pretty much.
Well, it's funny. I said constipation. You're like, oh yeah, compared to the sins.
Yeah, I completely.
Like constipation is the 8th sin. You're like gluttony, idolatry, adultery, constipation.
Well, like yeah. So Augustus Gloop, it's sort of a representation of gluttony. Veruca Salt is a representation of greed. Violet Beauregard is a representation of pride, and I would say that Mike TV is.
He was a sign of the things to come with kids when it comes to watching. Like,
I guess the closest thing he would probably represent is Wrath, because he does like kind of. But you know, it's hard to say. I know I had a better comparison when we originally recorded this, but regardless,
it's been 6 months, so fuck off.
But yeah, so Augustus Gloop is gone. The only Oompa Loompa, I mean, all the Oompa Loompa songs had the same kind of like melody and everything to them.
I just took a shit on you.
What do you get when you guzzle down sweets? Eating as much as an elephant eats. Like that's the only lyrics I can remember from any of the Oompa Loompa songs in this. But yeah, so Augustus Gloop is gone pretty quick. The second ticket winner is.
What if I just had an idea? What if like the Oompa Loompas were like the members of Pink Floyd dressed up as Oompa Loompas, and they had like these really psychedelic songs because of the whole boat scene, and it's just like money, but it's just like chocolate.
All in all,
it's a sin.
Another chocolate bar. So the second child to win a golden ticket, I believe, it's Veruca, right? I think it's Veruca.
That's the one that chooses gum all the time, right?
No, that's Violet. I think Veruca's.
I want to say I thought Violet won it first, but it could have been Veruca. It was one of the two girls that won it.
Well, let's just.
I just can't remember because it was kind of quick.
Yeah, we'll go over Veruca. So Veruca.
I want it now.
I want it now.
Well, she's. Hey, she's also the forerunner to the J.G. Wentworth commercials. It's your money. Use it when you need it. It's my money. I want it now.
But her father owns a nut shelling company, right? So
yeah, and then they're all just like unwrapping candy bars. I'm like, what's happening to the fucking candy?
Yeah, so they're like, instead he has all of his employees unwrapping candy bars to try and find the golden ticket. Is it now? It's already been like a week or so since I've watched this. Is this the one where a woman finds it and tries to like put it in her? No, she ends up like standing up and like screaming like I found it and runs it up to him.
Yeah,
right?
she wants the vacation that he's promised the person who finds it.
Right. So it's the Tim Burton one that someone tries to like they find it and they try and like shove it in their shirt or whatever to hide it, but they get caught. So yeah. They find the golden ticket. The mother talks about her parents are kind of terrible, but the father spoils her. And
you don't even see the mother. You just see the father. I don't think that woman is his mother, like her mother.
Oh, really?
I didn't get that. I just got the thing that was his assistant. I didn't get that. I don't think she ever looks at her and calls her mommy. I think that's his assistant, like to running his business. I never got the sense that was his mother. I mean, I could be wrong. But I always just got it like that. You see Augustus's parents. You see, what's the guy who watched TV?
Mike TV.
Mike TV, Ms. TV. Awesome! Anyway, sorry, it's a wrestling thing. You see their parents, but I could be wrong. I just didn't get the feeling that was the mother for some reason. Maybe I'm just like not paying attention to context clues.
I don't know. Maybe because I may be confusing the other movie too, but I thought that they had like a conversation about how like she's like, oh, you spoil her too much or whatever, and
she says in this version is like, well, he says something, got to keep her happy or some shit like that. And he's like, huh.
Yeah, because I kind of got the impression that was her mother, and she's sort of like, you spoil her too much, but she also has like this demeanor of like, I really don't care about her that much, and he just like spoiling her, giving her everything she wants.
Well, maybe that was her mid mother. Like that's who bore her as a child, but she's not raising her. I don't know. I'm just making up stupid shit.
So yeah, and she ends up getting eliminated from the factory, in the golden goose room, where there is a room with giant geese who lay golden eggs, and
Giant geese. It's like 2 of them.
well, yeah, it's still 2 giant geese.
I think they look average in the movie though. You're like giant geese. I'm like, man, I just think they look like geese that would attack you at a fucking pond.
But they are giant geese because they're laying eggs that are huge.
Tomato.
A regular goose trying to push one of those eggs out for gonk, gonk.
Maybe also pushing the eggs out represents constipation.
The 8th
Like,
deadly sin.
It's the 8th deadly sin.
Constipation happens when you commit all the other sins, and it builds up
You're
inside.
just like, I really want all that money. I really want to cheat on my wife. I'm going to eat all this chocolate. I have to shit and I can't.
I shouldn't have eaten all the cheese.
Oh, God. I was like,
Willy-
I'm so constipated with all this cheese, baby.
Willy Wonka and the Cheddar Factory.
Oh, God. People are going to be listening to this going, that's not that funny. I'm like, yeah, it is in this moment.
So yeah, she gets eliminated because she
does a really this song that she sings. I just want to cut in because it's so obviously overdubbed with somebody else singing.
Yeah,
and it's like maybe it's her that actually sung it and they just overdubbed it. I'm not trying to take credit away from the actress, but my God, it's just like some of the lip syncing doesn't match up. And then she jumps on the scale that's supposed to say if you're a good or bad egg, and she falls in this big, giant asshole that leads to the dumpster.
yeah. It's sorry, with the eggs all fall on whenever they're being laid,
judged or something like that.
Yeah. So, and then the father jumps in after her, if I remember correctly, because. Doesn't Wonka make a comment in this one too about like, oh well, I don't know, the furnace is on every other day or something like that?
Yeah, he asked me, he goes like, where does that go, Wonka? He goes, to the furnace with all the other bad eggs. He goes, you're joking, right? And he's like, no, I'm being completely serious. And he's like, he yells her name and he falls in after her. But the thing is, like, well, I kind of get it. Like, it says he was a bad egg too. I didn't really think he was that bad of an egg. He just fucking gave his daughter everything, and she was a bitch.
Yeah, I don't. And the thing is, the reason earlier I said, some of them may or may not be dead is because of something like this, where they never show you in this film what happens to the kids.
I think it's funny though that he says at the end though, like they will return, like they will go back to their lives just as normal. They'll return. We're gonna do this again, guys. Part 2.
The Fantastic Four will return.
They do that whole thing, and like he says, like they'll be normal, but hopefully a little bit more wiser or something like that.
Oh,
but
okay.
In the Willy Wonka or in the Chocolate Factory one, they show them walking out.
Right, as they're flying away in the elevator, that you see them like leaving the factory, and like Mike TV is like all like stretched out and really tall because he gets pulled through the taffy puller or whatever. And
no, he was the one that got shot in the TV.
Yeah, but remember he says take him to the taffy room and put him on the stretcher or whatever to stretch him back out to normal size.
Oh yeah, I got you now. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. So the next child is Violet Beauregard, and she is a prideful girl. Talks about
who likes to wear blue clothing, even though they say it's violet.
Yeah, and she has like the world record for chewing the same piece of gum for the longest amount of time or whatever, and kind of taunts some of her classmates on TV when they're interviewing her about winning the ticket. in the factory, she gets eliminated because she decides that she's going to chew the gum that has the 3-course meal in it, which I believe it's tomato soup, roast beef, and potatoes, and then blueberry pie. And when she
and then poontang pie.
yeah.
That's only when she gets older. It's like, so what are old adults doing it? Oh man, roast beef. Pussy. Or there's another one that goes, ooh, that tastes like ass. It's a brown piece of gum.
Oh man, it ends up becoming like a. I know you've never seen the Harry Potter movies, but like a Bertie Bott's every flavored jelly bean situation where like some of them can taste like lemon and some of them can taste like boogers or an earwax.
Okay, you had over the course of our friendship have had those jelly beans.
Yeah.
Whatever taste over the course of, like I said, the 10 years. So I've tried them, so I know what they're talking about. I remember reading that in one of the Potter books. I got to like book at least 2, maybe 4.
Oh, okay, yeah. They introduced them in the first book, so.
Yes, I remember that.
But yeah. So she ends up eating this gum or chewing this gum, and when it gets to the blueberry pie, Wonka says something like, "We haven't quite worked out the dessert yet," or something like that. And she swells up into a giant ball and turns blue and purple. And the dad has the infamous line of, "Violet, you're turning violet, Violet." It's just like, why are you saying Violet so many times? Like, that's not how a sentence is structured.
And she doesn't even look violet.
Yeah, she's purple.
Being completely...
like her clothes are blue and her face is like just like straight up like purple. It's more like a lavender color almost, but whatever. But yeah, she gets rolled out and I think taken to the juicing room so that they can.
So she can be squeezed before she explodes, which also could be used as a sexual metaphor. I gotta juice her before she explodes all over me.
Oh my god.
This podcast has went off the rails, baby.
Oh, I know. I'm trying to get us through the rest of it. So yeah, that's her demise. And the fourth child is Mike TV. He obsesses over watching TV. I don't remember if this is the same. Again, like I watched this movie and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory a lot in my life, but I know like in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, he definitely says something like, "I don't even like chocolate. I just," in that one he's like, it was easy to crack the code to figure out where it was going to be and all this whatever. And this one, does he say that he doesn't like chocolate in this? That he just
I think it just focuses on like him watching TV, and it really was like almost like a forewarning to gun control. He goes, "Man, I can't wait to have a real gun." And that's the only thing I remember in the conversation with him. And then you see Slugsworth, in the well, it's funny in the background of all this. Slugsworth is putting the microphone in Mike's face and the reporters' faces are asking him questions, but he's just like fucking slinging it around like, huh. It's like its own little scene, and behind the scene is hilarious, man. And this is the first time I ever noticed it. Yeah. And he's just like, yeah, and yeah, as he's pointing to each person.
Yeah, Slugworth is like always there. And like even when Charlie finds the ticket, somehow he knows the alley that Charlie's gonna run down to go home. It's like, what the fuck? Like,
he's like, "I'm Batman.
I'm vengeance."
It's that scene where he shows up after Charlie has the ticket at night. He goes, "You got the last ticket. Congratulations." It's just like that scene in the Batman where he walks up to all those clown guys messing around with the little nerd guy.
Yeah.
And he fights them all. That's exactly. He starts walking up slowly. And it's not Slugsworth. This is the Batman. And Charlie's like, "What are you gonna do?"
And then you just hear Nirvana. Dong.
And then and Robert Pattinson's like, "That golden ticket's gonna make me happy as a child." And starts beating the shit out of Charlie.
Let me just go find the Flash so he can take it back to my childhood self.
Well, be careful. If you give it to Ezra Miller, he might take the child. So
yeah. So yeah, Mike TV ends up being eliminated. He is the last child eliminated. So at this point, it's only him and Charlie left. But they go to this room where Wonka shows them that he can take a giant Wonka bar turn it into a million little particles and send it over the airwaves to a television, a special television that they've developed where you can reach in and just take the chocolate out of the screen. I don't know the economics behind this idea. I know you sell the TV, but then how do you charge people for the chocolate? Do you just charge them ahead of time? Like, you're paying $600 for this TV in the 70s, and that'll pay for like 2 years of chocolate or something? I don't know. But
it doesn't make any sense. It's just like Wonka's like, I got a lot of money, let's do this.
yeah.
But I thought it was funny when you're like, well, he can take a giant, and in my mind I auto-completed like shit and transfer it into this television, because like, this goes back to constipation. And it's like, that was a really big shit. So, you know, these were this whole part is really quick with
I will
Mike.
say this is my least favorite part of this movie. It's my least favorite part of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. It's my least favorite part of the book, just because like the idea itself is fine, like it's imaginative enough, but like the whole like room, the setting of it all is just so, it's lacking.
They didn't have the effects for it yet.
Yeah, and well, even like I said in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, it's just the whole like scene is just lacking for me when you compare it to the other scenes in the movie, because everything's so bright and colorful and like whimsical, and there's all this weird stuff going on, and it's like then all of a sudden you're just in like a bright white room with a giant camera and a TV, and it's just like, I don't know, it just, to me it almost and who knows, I mean, Roald Dahl's been dead for a long time, and he wrote this book a long time ago, but to me it almost feels like Roald Dahl was like toward the end of the book, he's like, and he gets sucked into the camera, put in the TV, and Charlie gets the factory. You know, like it's just like so, like you said, it's so quick, but it's, I mean, there's not much you can do in this scene because there's not a lot in this scene to do anything with. So I don't know.
And when he gets I guess chopped up in the particles as he's getting transferred to the TV. Mm-hmm. It almost looks like the same quality of the DNA guy from Jurassic Park. I'm Mr. DNA.
I'm Mr. DNA. Dinosaur.
And I just like, that's what it reminds me of every time. I just keep waiting for him to get the TV screen. I'm Mr. DNA.
And this is how we found dinosaurs. But yeah, so he's eliminated. We already talked about at the end, you know, Charlie goes and, you know, gives the gobstopper back to Wonka. You find out that Slugworth is a paid actor by Wonka. He's actually like someone who works for Wonka anyway, but
yeah, he's not the real Slugsworth.
Yeah, and then they get in the great glass
It's
elevator.
a twist.
Yeah.
M. Night Shyamalan watches and goes, oh, I'm going to do this in all my movies.
Yeah, the twist about the village girl being blonde and all that.
What a twist.
What a twist.
That village movie was so good until they were like, oh, yeah, the monsters are fake. Like, what the fuck?
You talking about the village?
Yeah.
Well, like,
I love that movie. I was so freaked out when I watched it, and then it's like, oh, yeah, it's not real. Like, what the fuck?
To me, like, you know, going on this little tangent or whatever, but to me it was like super fucking cool that like, oh shit, because the whole movie you think like it takes place like hundreds of years ago, and it's like, oh no, this is modern time, and like the village is like pretty much like right there next to like a town or whatever, and it turns out that it's just these people that these like, if I remember right, they're like basically religious zealots or whatever, and they go to the woods because they want to live like truly traditionally or whatever.
Yeah, which you would think also wouldn't work because someone has to pay taxes on that land.
Yeah. Well,
so
and then
I
like,
always think about that.
And then like the monster or whatever, I guess they use the monster to scare people to stay in the village. That's the whole point of it. But yeah, it is kind of, it's like, oh man, the monster's fake. That's kind of weird. But I'm not as down on that movie as a lot of people are. But Shyamalan definitely has worse movies than The Village.
Did you ever see Old?
Yes, I was just about to say Old is one of like his worst movies, I think.
Is it not? I've never watched it. Is it not really that good?
It's fine, but if you're like a big fan of Shyamalan, don't go in expecting like that it's going to be a great movie. I mean,
it's not Split.
No, it's no. It's definitely not Split. It's not Split. It's not The Sixth Sense. You know, it's definitely like middle of the road Shyamalan to me.
Yeah, it's definitely not Signs. And Signs we'll be doing in like a month. And it's really
Signs
good.
a Shyamalan movie?
Yeah, M. Night Shyamalan wrote that and directed that movie.
Oh, I didn't know that. But yeah, I've never seen Signs, so it's not The Visit. The Visit's probably still my favorite Shyamalan movie. That
movie, I swear to God, freaked me the fuck out
yeah,
when I watched it in theaters.
Oh my gosh! When you get to the twist at the end, like my stomach or my heart sank into my stomach. I'm like, oh no! Like I was like, oh no! Why?
And then I was like, when he rubs that poopy diaper in the kid's face, I go, oh no! And of course, I'm a germaphobe, so it was just like, ugh, ugh.
Man.
But I was that like sassy lady in the movie theater that will say, well, I wouldn't have done that, or oh hell no, I ain't doing that. That was me watching the movie. And when there was just like something happened, I'm like, oh shit, I literally audibly did it, and the people in front of me turned around and kind of laughed. I'm like, I'm sorry. So
but yeah, so that's all the kids. That's pretty much how it ends. They get in the elevator and they float away. They're going back to Charlie's house.
Willy Wonka, Grandpa Joe, and Willy float away. Not the kids. That kind of. Let me ask you this real quick. Just a quick exercise. Let's rank the kids from most hateable to least hateable.
Well, I think that Veruca is like definitely the one that is the least likable. Cause
she's the most hateable. I hate her.
The spoiled brat angle or whatever. And then I would put Mike TV.
I would say Mike.
Yeah. And then I think, the other two aren't like just completely unlikable. But I think after Mike, I would probably put
Violet.
Violet, yeah, sorry.
This is the same rankings because I'm like, we don't spend a lot of time with Augustus to hate him. He's just like, he's a healthy boy that likes chocolate,
Yeah, he eats a lot. I mean, he's not necessarily like a mean kid or anything. Mike comes off like as a bit of a prick, and then of course, Veruca is like just awful because she's
she's a bitch.
But yeah, so this is one of the things that the movie differs from in the book, because in the book they actually go back to the house to get the parents and the grandparents and all that, and then if I remember correctly, in the book they float away to go back to the factory, and that's where the book ends, because there was a sequel called Charlie and the Great Glass Elevator, and the elevator actually, they lose control of it and it floats into outer space. And there's a bunch of weird shit that happens in that book. Like they're on the moon at one point, if I remember right. And like,
have you read the book?
Yeah, I read it in elementary school, so it's been a long time. But they just, there's like aliens and stuff that show up in it. It's super freaking weird.
Do they ever end up back at the chocolate factory?
Yeah, I think so at the end. But
so Charlie actually finally gets what's his. And by the end, Wonka's like, I think I'm gonna hold on to it a little bit longer. It's all right.
At that point, he's like, you know what? I'm retired. You haven't taught me how to run the factory, sir. You'll figure it out. The Oompa Loompas will teach you.
Feed the little pygmies some food, and they'll make you some chocolate.
Yeah, that's all I know how to make is candy. It's like, oh, fast forward 5 years later, and Charlie's just even sicklier than he was before because all he eats is
Charlie
sugar.
turns into Augustus Gloop because he's been eating chocolate this whole time.
So yeah. Overall, would you recommend this movie? And I think I know the answer, but would you recommend this movie?
On a scale of 1 to 10, I would. Yeah, I definitely would recommend this.
on a scale of 1 to 10, it's a C.
On a scale of the alphabet, it's a F and a U. Fuck off. No, I think it's a really good movie. I remember watching it as a kid after reading the book in school. And, it's probably the first book adaptation I ever watched, to be quite honest with you. If I remember correctly, I may have watched other ones. This is the first one I remember because it was probably like 5th or 6th grade. I think it's a really good movie. It's a short watch, like I said, an hour and 40 minutes. And it doesn't feel like it's dragging at any point. Like it's getting through the points of the story. I think that the differences between the book and this movie are minute, and probably things that they physically or even fiscally couldn't do with it. And I think that the criticisms of this movie being too much of a Willy Wonka heavy movie are unwarranted, in my opinion. And I 100% prefer it over Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, because I think Gene Wilder is a better comedic actor than Johnny Depp. That's just my opinion. But yeah, I think it's definitely excuse me. It's definitely a recommend for me, and it's at least a must watch for one time for everybody.
Yeah.
You sure?
I would definitely recommend it. Like you said, the length of the film is good. An hour 40 minutes. It moves. There's only one scene, I think, in the whole movie that kind of feels unnecessary, and it's the scene where Charlie's mom is singing to Charlie or whatever. To me, like, that's the one moment in the film that kind of slows it down too much. But other than that, it's a pretty, like, it's a tight film. So yeah, I definitely recommend it.
Bro.
And I do think you know, after rewatching it after so many years or whatever, I do think it's better than Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah, we converted them, everybody.
So yeah, so that's gonna be it for this episode. I feel like we went into more detail with the other one, but you know, like we've said before on times that we've had to re-record episodes, it's just one of those things that, like, even though it's been quite a while since we recorded it, it's still one of those things like, gosh, you know, you just don't feel like
it doesn't capture the magic of the first one.
Yeah, but it's all right. You know, we think we got all the technical hiccups worked out now, so hopefully we won't lose any episodes, at least for a while. So if I remember correctly, our next film is going to be Clerks, which is Owen's movie.
Yeah, that'll be an Owen movie. Mm-hmm.
And then it will be my movie, which is The Witch. And then...
Which I messed up and say the name. Brittany has actually wanted to watch that movie for a long time, and she's just never got around to it. So it's going to be something I get to watch with her, and I'm going to actually get scared over and shit like that. So I'm excited to see it. And
then it'll be your movie after that, which I believe you said you want to do Signs, right?
Yeah. The reason why I picked that, because the way the recording schedule is going to work out, by the time we get to October and it's my movie, that movie won't be released until, here's behind the curtain, everybody, like Christmas.
Yeah.
Around Christmas. So I picked Lethal Weapon because it's a Christmas movie, in my opinion, and it's got Mel Gibson. And that's when it dawned on me, like, I should do Signs. Because I didn't know if you'd ever seen that movie, and he's the main character. Him and Joaquin Phoenix are in Signs.
Oh, wow.
And it's really fucking good. That movie blew my mind as a kid. Like, that's probably, I didn't self-discover that movie. My dad bought it, and we watched it as a family, and it was like, oh, it's so fucking good. When my buddy came over to stay the night, this is like 9th grade, I showed him the movie, and he was fucking blown away too. And it's like, man, this movie's so fucking good. And you know, the whole scene, like, I can't wait to get to it, because that's gonna be like a month away, or more than a month away. But yeah, it's gonna be pretty fucking good. And then, like, after Signs, it's your movie again, isn't it? After that point,
no, after Signs it'll be Owen's movie, whatever that may be.
Okay.
And then it'll be my movie. Which, like you said, because of the recording schedule, like, we'll basically end up with like 2 episodes in December, one of which will be that movie that we record for my choice after The Witch, which I've already said I'm gonna do Krampus. It's like a fun Christmas horror movie. And
okay, did you watch this? I think the show The League.
Yeah.
John LaJoy, he was the stoner brother of one of the main characters. And they did that thing where he dressed up as Krampus at the mall for Christmas. And he goes, ho, ho, he goes like, get out of my way, Santa, you sack of shit.
But yeah, Krampus is one of those like horror movies. Like, you can't go into it like expecting to be like super scared of it or anything. But it is.
I think I've seen it in theaters. Did that come out like 06, 07, 08?
No, it came out like 2015, 2016. 17, something like that.
Yeah, I don't know why I was thinking like
It
that. I just had to
stars,
put a 1 in front of the number.
The guy, I can't remember the actor's name, but he plays Ben on Parks and Rec. The one that gets married to Amy Poehler's character. Yeah. So
I got you. Yeah. Fucking. He's also. I can't remember his name. He's a big Star Wars fan too, like in real life.
I think that movie also has the guy that plays God, what is that dickhead's name from The Office? The bald guy that Michael loves, but everyone else hates.
Oh God.
What is his name?
Shit.
This is killing me too because Stephanie and I are like going through The Office now, and
it's the tall guy that's got hair on the sides of his head.
Packer, yeah, Todd Packer,
yeah. Todd Packer. That dude is David Kochner, and he plays like in Anchorman. He plays a mentally challenged person in the Larry the Cable Guy in the Health Inspector movie, and which that movie is fucking terrible when I think back at it, but I loved it at the time.
Yeah, if I remember right, he's in Krampus, and he's like the brother-in-law or whatever, and he's sort of like a stereotypical like redneck type character.
Yeah, he's a Chiefs fan in real life too. So hey, representation, baby.
Yeah, him and the guy that plays Cam in Modern Family.
Oh yeah, him. Well, see, David Kochner, that guy, Eric Stone Street is his name.
Eric Stone Street.
Paul Rudd. Paul Rudd's a Chiefs fan, and I'm trying to think. And Rob Riggle, that's the guy in The Other Guys. That's the, he's the one that's with the young Wayne kid, like the partners, and he's like the douchebag cop. Yeah, it's him. He's and they're huge Chiefs fans. I'm like, yeah, baby, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and all the only ones I know that the Titans have, like as far as like celebrity fans who aren't actually athletes, are like Drew McIntyre, Sheamus, and Ed Sheeran.
Which is funny. Oh, well, Henry Cavill's actually a Chiefs fan too. That's why I like him. But I think all the Titan fans were burned when they moved to Nashville from Houston. Okay, they were Oiler fans first, and they're like, now fuck that and fuck them and yada yada yada. But all
right.
But hey, real quick before we end this episode, talking about Drew McIntyre.
Yeah,
I was at SummerSlam at Nissan Stadium, obviously, and it was really cool. The seats we had were like above the entranceway. We're like in the second rung of Titans in the Titan Stadium. It was really good seats. But anytime they'd have a surprise entrance, you could see them setting it up because it wasn't in camera shot. And they'd said, so the Edge returned, but he came out of that silly ass platform where he walks down the stairs. But that had been wheeled out during the middle of the match that was going on, and we all saw it. I'm like, oh man, kind of ruins the surprise, but it was pretty cool. But I legit think they packed half that stadium. They only wanted one side of the stadium. They tarped off the other side. If they didn't tarp off the other side, they could have put I think 60,000 people in the stadium because that place was fucking packed. And Nashville never gets anything that big, like when it comes to wrestling. So, but it was fun. Like seeing WWE live, even if you're not a WWE fan, it's really fucking fun. So I suggest anybody to go to it. Anyway, yeah, I guess that is it. And Cody, thanks for being available to record this episode. And we're finally caught up with all of our back episodes we wanted to re-record or record, so we're good to go, baby.
Yep. So we'll see y'all next time with Clerks,
Dragon Ball Z,
and yeah, that's it. I guess we'll go back to our world of pure imagination.
We need to get those sound clips you want downloaded too for this. All right. Bye, everybody.
See ya.